Welcome back to Cast Me to Hell with me, Seb.
And me, Robbie.
And here we are in our summer sorority slasher season with our first one, The House on Sorority Row.
Yeah, kickstarting it with a genre classic, I would say. If you're thinking of sorority slashers, it's probably the big one that everybody goes to, I would say.
The 1982.
Yeah. So kind of right in the middle of the golden age of slashers, really. You know, kind of kick-started by Halloween, 1978, and then really kind of, Friday the 13th through. I was trying to figure it out then. Fuel on that fire and really ignited stuff. And
but then becoming like really popular as well.
Yeah.
Although I feel like as we are talking sorority, the one that's always much forgotten for having in a way being a linchpin. It's always Halloween always comes first, but Black Christmas came before it.
Oh yeah.
And Black Christmas is a sorority one, but also, Halloween came out of that because of it being like technically it was almost like a sequel to Black Christmas.
Then I think Halloween was the big,
Halloween was the big, like, started that burning flame, really, kind of thing. Black Christmas is sadly the one that just... There's always that one that just comes before it gets... what I mean? Before it gets massive. Whereas, if you talk, like, there was Blade, and then there was the X-Men. And, Blade is much forgotten. Blade actually came first, but you know what I mean? That's the only example that came into my head that I can compare it to, is, like, you had a film that was, like... a start of a big like craze of films, but then one was the big one that actually started, and then Spider-Man came and went fuck you all.
Well, everybody literally always says that Black Christmas was Halloween's Blade, and Friday the 13th was Spider-Man. Yeah, it's not just you who said that.
There you go.
Everybody has ever said that. It's such a
common phrase.
Yes, it's such a common phrase. But yeah, so we're kicking off our season for this August. We're back to our slasher summer and we're looking at some sorority films. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe on everything, like we said the last one. Stalk us, find us, gut us. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a lovely review. So this was the second time viewing for me. I did watch it the first time a few years ago. I was under the influence of some substances. So there was a point for me where I just didn't really know what was going on. To the point where you kind of get the first half of the film, and then the second half, when the killings really kick in and we find out who the killer is, that because I couldn't really pay attention, I was very much like, how does any of this link in? So it's quite happy to rewatch.
I mean, I was completely sober and things like that, and when it got to the part when it started trying to explain what the fuck was going on, even I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, I'm glad to know it wasn't just me.
I was. There's a part in, like, I guess the third act here when things start explaining, and I was like, so it's no, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This like, I think it was because although this kind of explains it in a way, it also kind of feels like it goes very quickly through an explanation that if you kind of switch off for like 2 minutes, you're like, wait, what?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Definitely.
Like, I was like, you're the kid. Oh. I did not pay attention. I need to go and rewind.
Yeah, it gets an odd little bit of like Jallo-ness at the end.
It feels it feels like it goes from like your slasher to like, right, here it is, let's have the showdown, to then kind of being like here's a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Like, here's an extra element that we're going to twist in that just to blend it up and really fuck with your head.
Yeah, because it opens up in on June the 19th in, I believe, 1961. With a woman kind of giving birth and this doctor coming in and being...
in black and white.
In black and white.
In 1960, it was all black and white.
The
world was black and white.
The world was black and white.
We had to wait for colour to arrive.
It does. The world is black, the world is white. It spins by day, it spins by night.
It is that classic. It is that classic horror trope of doing things like anything coming before. Well, actually, no, not just horror, just general films. There was a certain point in cinema, and I think we've kind of left it behind now, but there was a certain point in cinema from the 90s backwards where it was like, if anything happened in 1960 or before that, it had to be in black and white.
Yeah.
Unless the whole film took place in that time period, then it was a black and white flashback, and that's how it works.
Well, I imagine that's the kind of way in which we go. Well, 20 years ago was 1980, and they go, no, actually, 20 years ago was when you were young. That was the 2000s. It's their way of kind of going, well, actually, this wasn't just 20 years ago. This was so much longer ago. We didn't even have colour in the world.
The bad part is they act as if here's the modern part, and the weird part for us right now is we look at right now and think, 1960, that's a long time ago. 1980s, that was a long gap between that, but between us right now and 1980s, we've got nearly 50 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas here, in 1980, they only had 20 years between the 60s.
Yeah.
That was only it's like 1981 to 1961, so it was literally like a 20-year gap between those things. So not even actually that long that everyone would actually have been younger than like us looking back at the 90s right now and be like, 90s was only the other week, right? Now it's fucking
exactly. They're trying to get over that. They're trying to say this was actually so much longer ago. It wasn't 20 years.
But anyway, my point was basically from after 1960, before that it was Pleasantville. And then they learned how to swear and how to be naughty, and then it became a thing.
Well, then
if you don't get that reference from Pleasantville, go and watch Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Fuck this one. I'm going to review Pleasantville.
Yeah, let's just do Pleasantville.
Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon.
We did mention Tobey Maguire with Spider-Man.
We did. I'm just in that world right now. Yeah. I just want to talk about Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. Like his
He's
films.
probably on Epstein Island.
Maybe.
I mean, DiCaprio was apparently, so
And
they hang about together.
They do.
He's got weird stuff. So
DiCaprio, I can kind of picture being, quite sleazy with women. I can't imagine it with Tobey Maguire.
No,
he was in Seabiscuit. That's not a shagging man's film.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, he, like DiCaprio, has been a bachelor for all these years, just hanging out on yachts.
Yeah. Whereas Tobey Maguire is Peter Parker. Anyway, we digress.
We don't know anything.
We know nothing.
We have not had access to these files yet.
Yes.
It's later episode.
Yeah, I think that's got to be our October season.
Yeah.
It's got to be the
Epstein
Island files. So
I've got to try and up those numbers.
Yeah, we've got to try and up those numbers. We've got to get that road.
Make sure you tag it Epstein Island. The Epstein files, and just see how much we spike.
Yes. So we kind of were introduced to this woman who's kind of given birth, and the doctor comes along, cuts open the belly in the dorm bed, because that's what you do. In the 60s, they didn't have hospitals,
No.
You gave birth wherever you were, kind of like in a manger, that kind of vibe. So they take the baby, and then we go to 1981. Everything's colourful.
Well, he tells her the baby's dead as well.
Yeah, he says the baby's dead.
Baby's dead. Yeah.
We
don't really quite see what happened there, kind of in between turning out, but it's just like, I'm sorry, the baby died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't really know. It seems sinister. Like you just lobbed it against the wall or something.
Just booted it.
Yeeted it.
Yeah. Just booted it, so don't worry about it, love. You got the rest of your life ahead of you.
That's ugly. Fuck.
Yeah. So then we're introduced to 7 sorority sisters. The only name I really remember is Vicky, because she takes on the role that there is in pretty much every sorority slasher film of like the queen bee. She's the bitch. She's the mean girl who effectively, like, I'm not saying she bullies the rest of the girls, but she's top of the pecking order.
Yeah. She's leading it, and she's got the biggest vendetta against Miss Slater.
Yes, Miss Slater. And they're having like a party, where they're getting pissed up and they're saying,
they're meant to be leaving the sorority house. They're meant to be going, kind of thing. Everyone goes, but they say, no, we're hanging around an extra week to basically, so we can have a massive party to end it all, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Dorothy Slater is no to this. She's like, you slags need to get out.
Yeah, you slags need to leave.
You slag, get out my pub.
I'm glad you were thinking of Cat Slater as well, you know.
Well, yeah, Peggy Mitchell, Cat Slater, any of the EastEnders.
Yeah, for any of our American listeners, because we do have a surprisingly high amount of American listeners. EastEnders is a documentary about a group of people who live in a square in London. So go away and research Cat Slater. She's a lovely woman.
You could watch it. I think there's only about 2,000.
There's only 2,000 episodes of this documentary.
So you could breeze through that. If you're a binge watcher, you can watch that in like 12.
You'll love it. It's really
you
good.
watch it like 12 years.
Very true to life. So yeah, we're introduced to her, and they decide whilst they're having KFC, which I liked. I like them having KFC, 80s KFC as well. I imagine. I can't imagine what that would have been like. You know.
My mind just went, I'd imagine now it tastes like shit because it's from the 80s. Rob, just for you, I brought out 1980s bucket.
Okay, it's coming in flies.
It's been cremated at this point. Yeah. You must eat it like on air.
A bucket of ash. Yeah, I mean, give it a go. But I love that they're just like throwing, because they've got this mangy pool, which is full of like green algae water, and they're going, well, we can't swim in it because it's dirty. Miss Slater, old battle axe that she is saying, well, you don't use it, so I'm not going to clean it. Classic landlord, you know.
What sorority girls like that in the middle of don't use that pool?
I know.
Looking at that going, who's not having, I guess it's because we get the implication that basically they've not been able to do a lot because of Miss Slater. Like other fraternities, sororities have been doing like parties and stuff, and we get the feeling that that's not really been the vibe with these guys. No. They've not really been allowed to get away with much at all with Miss Slater, so Mrs. Slater. So
Miss Slater just
it says Mrs. Dorothy Slater, but I feel she's more of a miss.
100%. Does she mention her husband?
No, and even the child's not even like the child was like.
Well, the child was splattered against the wall, so please don't give away any spoilers of the child, because it doesn't mention it again until about 2/3 of the way through.
Even though it mentions it in the opening scene, so you know it's coming back.
You know it's coming back.
It's a very obvious thing that we're going to pick up on here.
100%.
Otherwise, why did we show that scene?
Well, they needed to pad it out, so they're like, just show her having a traumatic experience. That explains why she's such a bitch.
Yeah, this is why Miss Slater is a bitch.
But they come up with, again, classic prank of let's do something to Cat Slater. And show her. Let's show her up. Let's show her who's boss.
Well, mainly because for Vicky, she wants to get a pounding from some muscular man.
Yeah, some very muscular 80s man.
And we get the first feeling that Miss Slater. Well, we get mention with her psychiatrist that Miss Slater may be going through some kind of mental problem or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we keep getting mention of a mental but we don't know. There's no context to it. There's like, this person's unwell or this person's thing. It's very odd.
I found it so funny because they're talking to her and they are like, you know, the tests aren't too good and, you know, the decline seems to be more than we anticipated. This doctor from the beginning.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you know, if you ever get out there, hang on to this necklace. And he basically gives her the equivalent of like, I've just got to carry a collar that has an air tracker on it. He basically gives her the equivalent of that, you know, which is like a collar that says, if something happens to Cat Slater, call this number. And I think it's quite funny.
Yeah. Well, we like those scenes are like peppered a little bit, like very quick scenes, but we keep getting like occasional quick scene of it, like in this first kind of act of him talking about someone. We believe we're talking about Miss Slater, but it's also a little bit like unclear that like who are we talking about that's mentally unwell or seems to be deteriorating or things like that. So when we keep seeing Mrs. Slater, who is constantly just seems like aggravated or annoyed or getting really worked up over quite minimal stuff, really, that these girls are doing. Actually, just while it's on my brain, there was also one thing that I felt like the music, the score, the soundtrack in this film at the beginning, like, or the way it opens at the beginning of the film, or just about the first, like, after that 1960s part, we get the 1980s, but it doesn't necessarily feel like we start to a 1980s horror film.
No.
It felt really like it's got this score that's really like kind of sweeping and like this kind of which made me feel more like I was about to watch like some kind of 80s drama about, you know, a woman who's about to develop cancer and the family's going to go through terms of endearment or something like that. It felt more like the vibe of that, like we were watching some like drama about some some people that were about to go through something until it actually gets into them all eating KFC. Like I was like, what is this?
Even the first shot we get off the campus, which is a really nice shot. One thing to say about the film is it is a very colourful film. It's very bright. And there's like a sweeping shot of the
that's
campus.
right. We've got getting out of the car and there's like wind rushing through and the little cars driving up, and I was like, oh, this feels like a very like much more of a kind of dramatic performance going on here.
You know, sisterhood.
Yes.
And what comes after university and how the bonds of friendship
coming of age
tested.
Story and things like that. And then, you know, then we're like, oh, here's Mrs. Slayer being fucking crazy at them and like beating them. And then when Vicky tries to, you know, get a bit of that cock.
Yeah, with a condom.
Yeah.
Practicing safe sex.
You know?
I was expecting raw dog.
I mean, one thing I also say is, you know, I was expecting, to be honest, the second I saw some of those girls like on the thing, I was like, right, that one's gonna get naked. That one's gonna get because just the look of them generally looked like we were set. There's one that's very make-upped up, and I was like, there you go. There's the one that's like basically being set up to be the one that's going to be naked for some reason.
Got it.
But apart from Vicky here with some showing of breast kind of thing, a little part of this, it actually shies away from a lot of that there's more over the top nudity.
There's more side boob, and arse than there is full frontal. Get your babs out,
kind of thing, which is, I don't know why, but just sorority films just seem to lead to the idea that this is just going to be a full-on bush fest.
Well, I think it comes down to, like, I watched Sorority Babes in the Slime Bowler-Arma.
I was considering watching that, but that one did look like it was just going to be full-on nudity.
And that's it. It's very much feels like, so it's a full moon production, so it is a bit like snide and a bit cheap. It has a like this imp in it.
I mean, it sounded like it could have just been porn, to be honest.
It starts off very much like three losers are going to sneak in and watch the girls get changed. They get caught, and I was like, "Well, they're gonna fuck." I've seen this on Pornhub. I've only beat off to this yesterday.
I made this film.
I was in it. Me and 4 Latvian prostitutes that I hired. You know, we made this film. And yeah, it was a fun film, but it did feel like it was going to lean that way more. And I feel like when you have the implication of like sorority girls, it's got to be there's bush and there's tits everywhere, and that's what it's got to be. Whereas this film, I feel like is a little bit more restraint on it. I'm not sure.
It felt like it was trying to be. It was trying. It like the film feels a bit more like it is trying to be more restrained and more about the psychological nature that could affect things like that, and like some of those parts it tries. I'm not saying it fully pulls it off.
No.
But I'm saying it tries to be more of, say, a Halloween than a Friday the 13th in some ways, but it doesn't fully.
But it doesn't. I don't feel like it has as much voyeurism as I expected.
No.
You know, like I thought, given the nature of the film with Sorority Babes and with like the killer, who I remember kind of from our conversation around it when we went to the cinema, I was kind of like, I think there's got to be some more lingering shots on these women, watching them get changed from the cupboard, that kind of stuff. But I didn't really have any of that in.
No. I was going to say, one of the other sorority ones I watched had much more kind of, which we're going to talk about, but had much more kind of voyeuristic kind of more slower shots of breasts and things like that, whereas this one actually is quite, which is, I think, is good. It is over, it can be so that it's really over the top when you're like, why are we just basically, do women tend to just walk into a room and everyone just gets their tits out to you? I don't think that. I mean, maybe that's what porn has taught you.
That's what porn, my little mind.
Or watching the teen films of like, Euro Trip or Road Trip or any of those trip-based films of the 2000s would make you believe that women mainly just go into showers and just all get naked together, because that's apparently what happens. But
well, it's what men do. Men just get out and just get their cocks out.
Yeah,
you know?
we just are happy to just have it just flinging around in front of each other. We're not self-conscious at all.
No, I'm surprised you don't get much side ball in films and side shaft, you know. Just a tasteful little bit of vein and wrinkled sack.
The real tasteful shot is when you do it from behind with that. You've got that ass, that perfect muscular male ass, and then just a little bit of ball, just
the bottom of the sack.
Just got that slight bit of taint.
A little bit of taint.
That's that. That's
some hair kind of going.
The perfect lighting that just shines out.
That silhouetted.
That's what the women want. They want them clackers.
Yeah, they want clackers. You don't want to see like muscled bodies and arms anymore. You want to see ball.
Yeah.
Whether out of the shower.
That's what we go with now. Men want we want to be teased, mysterious idea, a bit of side. A bit of that, a bit of not full on thing like in the 70s and 80s when it's just full on in your face.
Yeah.
But that's what women want as well. They just want that tease.
Tease a taint.
That thing, that shadow. Some gooch. The shadow of it slowly rising.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but you know it's there.
Yes.
We're like 20 minutes in this episode, we've barely got...
Well, we get to the prank then. So we get to the prank. So they take Cat Slater, who has this kind of like eagle cane.
Well, this was the linchpin that I was trying to get to, and we went off track. Was that when she's getting that pounding, she comes in and basically destroys her waterbed, makes a full-on flood of it coming out. But you believe that this is the first kill coming.
Yeah, you do.
You believe with that cane she's coming out and she's about to go in the back of her skull or something like that is what it makes it look like. And then she pulls into that and you're like, okay. So it's very much implying that Miss Slater is capable of being a murderer without fully murdering her. And then Vicky's like, I'm going to get you, bitch.
I'm going to get you,
bitch. And everyone else is laughing at her because, she's got a towel and she's trying to, protect the bottom half kind of thing as she's through there. While the man is basically just like, I'm just in the room with my dong just out.
I'm just whacking to keep hard. Assuming we're going on.
I assume, fuck, I don't care if there's water. Literally, this room is flooded in water. I'm ready for it.
I'm in the zone.
We're doing, right?
And rub it up. So I gotta work hard.
Yeah, this cost me $2.
This cost me $2.
I am a college man of thing. I don't have money yet.
I don't have money. I'm going to use this all semester. Just wash it and reuse it.
So Vicky comes up with this plan with her seedy boyfriend's gun.
Yes.
That she is going to fuck with Mrs. Slater. Obviously not fully revealed to the audience exactly what is going on here kind of thing. It feels like it goes over the edge. They're basically, they put a cane onto the water.
Yeah.
And it seems like the prank is mainly just to force the old lady to jump into the pool, basically. Yeah. So she pulls out a gun and points it at her, and then to prove it's working, she has set out to shoot the light, and she pretends to shoot one of the other girls. I can't remember what that one's name is.
Blonde.
She goes down, I think it's the brunette with a big curly bushy hair.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
One of the two.
Yeah, she shoots her in the ankle, we believe, and it's not fully revealed what this is. You think that Vicky's just gone over the deep end because half the girls don't know what's going on, and they didn't reveal it for that exact reason. But it's meant to be a bunch of blanks that are in the gun. Yeah. So she gets her into the pool and then gets Kane, and when Miss Slater gets out, she's basically, well, you bitch, kind of thing, like going after her. And then as they get into the fight with that, the gun goes off again, and it actually has a bullet in it.
Yeah.
And Miss Slater is killed.
Miss Slater's ripped.
Or at least as far as we believe.
So yeah, like the KFC chicken bones, they decide to sink her into this kind of mangy pool.
Yes. And they've got all the party people come in. The vans are showing up. They're right there, ready to do it. Obviously, our main lady is it Katie, our main one?
I can't remember. I couldn't remember
her
name.
So bad with the names of these people.
I feel like it is Katie Rose. I feel like that is the main character. Catherine McNeil is Katie Rose. I feel like that's who she is.
Yes.
I'm not
Katie
sure.
is the one that's
if I've seen
Katie is our main one. So Katie is obviously like, holy fuck, we need to ring an ambulance. We need to ring. There's always one that that can't be cool.
Yeah,
like the rest.
Can't be cool with killing an old woman.
She's got like guys. We haven't really got. Although Katie has been like our main kind of one. This isn't really one where we've got like a major like backs like loads of about Katie beforehand. She just is there's these 7 sorority girls. She's the one that they've decided is our focus in our film. So,
and it's odd because if you read the poster, I like the poster. This kind of woman. It is a bit erotic in front of her.
I was going to say the poster doesn't really feel like it matches this film.
No, but the tagline: "Nothing can prepare you for what happens when she fights back."
Yeah,
the house on Sorority Row, where nothing is off limits, apart from gratuitous violence,
gratuitous nudity.
Nudity.
It's not really off limits at all. Like
raw dog sex. There's quite a lot.
This poster for this film is 100% going on the idea that this is sorority porn.
Yeah,
and this is how they got people. This is why this film made 4 million. Not because of that. It's because of the implication.
The implication. They were like, well,
there are tits on the poster, so there are going to be tits on the film.
And there's going to be
basically barely wearing a sheet there, so there's definitely going to be sex. She's got pounded.
They say nothing's off limits, so it's going to be extremely
and
gory.
Nothing can prepare you for when she fights back. I mean, if that's not statutory rape.
Yeah. That's a terrible tagline.
I've just ruined that completely. That poster for you.
Well, it's
good. In context now, that is just terrible.
Yeah, that's a terrible tagline.
For a thing about a group of girls in a sorority house.
That's the Epstein Island tagline. When we do our film about the survivor of that'll be the tagline.
So Mrs. So she is like as the main character. But I never felt like we got to know a great deal about her. She's just there as this kind of. She's just the more contained of the girls, the one that seems a little bit more in her own head, maybe a little bit less willing to like join in with everything. But she's not. She's there, but she just doesn't seem like she has as much fun as the rest of them, or like when they're sat around having KFC. She's not finger licking it.
No, she's not finger licking it. She's just eating it. She's not throwing the bones in the pool. That's the way.
We don't get a 5-minute sequence of her just literally eating KFC chicken, getting it all over her finger. Just down to that bone. And just,
I'm not licking my fingers.
That's how you get to know a character in a film.
Yes,
how they eat that KFC.
I love the idea that the reason that this pool is so horrid is that every day they're eating KFC and
just bones in there. Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to clean it because you keep throwing fucking KFC in there. The filter's blocked with chicken bones and gristle. I can't do this anymore. That's why she's been driven.
That's why it's like that.
That's why she's driven.
They're dumping their excess gravy in there.
Yeah, every day.
That fucking chicken gravy, it's clogging everything up.
You're having sex and throwing chicken bones in my pool.
You're monsters.
Yeah.
There's another side to this story where we don't understand the plight of Mrs. Slater having to deal with these chicken-eating girls.
Yes. So we then go to kind of our first kill, which is at the graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
And I think it's just some bumbling idiot
who just walks just as what we believe is Mrs. Slater is getting her wet clothes. She's drying out those wet clothes. Even though she's been tied up in boat, I think she's out of the water now. She's getting them wet clothes off. Along he comes, got a little cane. I'm just going to stab you with.
Stab you for the neck.
Stab you through it. I mean, it's a cool first kind of one. But this is actually one of those ones where I was like, it actually led me to the belief that this film was therefore going to be more special effects heavy and more gruesome than it then continues to be. Because this first one is, you get to actually see it. You see into the neck.
Yeah. You
do actually see her get stabbed in the neck. It's a special effects shot. So then I assumed that we were about to get many different kills that all had special effects. But one thing that I will say that I was a bit disappointed with was that a lot of them are then just cut away or off screen or like a screen. We don't really see much, and there's not much variety either here, really. Like different destinations, yes. And there's one or two other kind of goodish ones kind of thing in there. But most of these I felt were very much like when we get to these death scenes with the girls and stuff like later, we get a lot of just where it's like, cut off. and we don't see it. And it's one of those things with horror films where I always feel like you shouldn't serve up a first death that is therefore more gruesome than anything else we see in the rest of the film.
Well, it's difficult.
It makes them, feel.
Well, the first death is the first proper death outside of the cold open is very much like the opening gambit.
Yeah,
you kind of want it to be good, but you don't want it to be your best kill. And I wonder whether there was a version of this that had more cuts. Yeah. Because one thing that they try to do the red herring of it's Miss Slater. So the weapon that is being used is, her stick.
Yeah.
It's kind of everybody's being impaled mostly.
Yeah.
And it does feel as if you do see I'm thinking of the girl who gets killed with the Jack in the Box. She comes in and she obviously gets naked as soon as she comes in because she's in the freedom of her own room, and then she hears the Jack in the Box on the balcony, so she walks out to get it, and then when she picks it up she gets impaled through the back.
Yeah.
And you kind of see it, the stick stab through her. But with a lot of these, it's very quick, and it just made me think that surely there's like a cut where there was a few more of it.
Yeah,
there was a few more stabbing in, because if you think about this is 1981, 82 it came out, but 81 it got made. Maybe I feel like it was made then. Maybe that's just me making shit up. I feel like because it's set in 81, it was probably made then. And by then you'd had stuff like Friday the 13th with Kevin Bacon getting peeled through. Tom Savini's work, I was thinking of. He did a lot of the impaling, the slow stabbing. Dawn of the Dead is the one that comes to mind with the screwdriver. So I feel like there definitely is scope for that. It's just a bit odd that we get the kill with the light switch, which is a fun setup where somebody goes in to kind of turn the power breakers off because they don't want the people who have come to light the pool up and see the body. And I like the setup.
And you're set up with that one to be like, oh, she's going down to the basement, we've got that, and then we get kind of the odd, like, a kind of reddish kind of glow kind of from there, and you're like, oh, this is a cool setup for, someone to die. But again, when it gets that point, it just cuts off to black, and very obviously cuts away, like not even like partially there. It felt like it was very like gone. I was like, oh.
Well, the one thing I did like about it was that they do like the silhouette of her, so she gets stabbed.
Sorry, you're right. The that part when you get the silhouette, at least that shows something, I guess. I was more. Some of them I just felt were just too fast.
There was definitely some faster ones in there, because I remember the silhouette.
The one in the van is very much like just appears at the side and just a quick and it's just got over. When she gets basically she's sat in the front car, comes in at the side, and just that, and it's just gone, and you don't really see what's clearly kind of happened like that. You know what's happened, but it's just not. I think there's also a thing about. It's interesting, we've got a different kind of murder weapon here, so, using something else, and obviously it's to imply who the killer is, kind of thing, to keep that as the who had done it, and to kind of be like, well, it's obviously this person, but it's not, kind of thing, even though I feel most people predictably are believing, this isn't her, kind of thing, she's dead. Well, we find, they go to the attic and her body falls out pretty quickly, and
I like the setup, I like the whole idea that They've thrown this party. They've got a band. There's some loser trying to shag Katie Rose. Just hanging around, and you think, look, man, get the hint. Let a real man go in and work his magic.
They have some weird ass. There's one bit when three of the girls are stood together and they look over at this guy, and you've got Vicky's boyfriend who. He's a bit of a dirty dog.
A bit of a scoundrel.
But at the same time, it's you're a handsome man, I guess, And then there's the one scene when the girls are stood, the earliest scenes of the party when they're all there, and they're like, they show this dude, and then they're like, oh my god, all three of them are, oh my god, he's so hot. And I was like, that dude's not hot.
Not even 80s hot.
That dude's not even 80s hot. That dude's got a freaking mole on his face here. I'm not against people that you can be beautiful with moles. But I just meant, he looked like he was receding a bit.
Yourself,
he looks like he was a bit
receding hair.
I'm not saying those things. I'm saying that you can do all those things. But I'm just saying this dude just does not look 80s hot.
Yeah.
He looks like a dude who's just like grinning at them. I was like, that dude's not hot. I was like, you've shown many handsome men in this film, but that is not
you
a hot
wouldn't
dude.
fuck him.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck that dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck that dude. I'd fuck that dude.
Yes. But anyway, it's only because I don't know why it stood out so much, but I was just like, why are we focusing on a long shot of this one dude just smiling over at them? I'm like, this dude does not seem like the dude that they're like, he's so hot. The bloke that probably just walked by in like a tight ripped shirt is probably the one that everyone's like, that's the hot dude.
Yeah.
Not this dude.
No, try to subvert it.
Subvert the expectation. Go for the average dude.
Go for the average guy. Go for the Jason Biggs, not the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There you go. They're trying to get the everyman to enjoy this film as well.
This should now be a rom-com.
Like, later, when they have the two dudes and the massive, the pretty massive bloke, who does the cannonball, into the pool, and we've got like random scenes like that where they're just like, we're gonna go in, and they're like, shit, he's gonna jump in the pool with the dead lady in there.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking they should have made a film, after American Pie, where a college girl has to choose between two students, one of them Jason Biggs, one of them Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let me cook. I'll write the script and we'll figure it out.
We'll work that out.
We'll get it made.
Right now, they might both be very available, so
we'll get it made.
Neither are in their heyday anymore.
No,
so.
but they're going to be pretending like they're 21.
Yeah.
So it'll be done. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
100%. You could get that film made, but you're gonna have to change Jason Biggs to Danny DeVito.
No, it's got to be.
It's the only way to get it made.
Got to be Biggs. DeVito could be in it as a different role.
You'll die on this hill. I am not giving you the rights to this film.
I'm not giving you the rights to it.
I'm Universal Studios want to make that film, but they don't want Jason Biggs.
No, we're not
Jason
doing
Biggs.
We're not doing it, mate. So the larger chap who does want to jump in the pool.
Yeah.
What is he chanting? It's completely gone out of my head. But he keeps saying like, "I'm a dirty pig," or like.
That's all I remember. I'm a dirty pig because when she comes in,
that's
it's like
what he's saying.
when she comes over and he's got that thing in the pool that she thinks is the body that he's dragging out. And all he says to her is, he always says like that, is like, I'm a dirty pig, like snort or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just off, like, that's it. I was like, what is the conversation going between? He's like, what the fuck's happening?
Definitely died after going in there.
Who are you?
He was searching for chicken bones.
Why are you at this party?
He saw the...
What made you guys want to jump in this pool?
He saw the glistening chicken bones. He thought it was like treasure. And it's like, they've got gold in there. It comes out with just handfuls of chicken bones. But yeah, I like the idea that at first they try to keep the people away from the pool, and and the audience are led to believe that it's Miss Slater. They discover the body isn't in there, falls right out the attic. And I thought when they were going to check it, that we were going to see Miss Slater's kind of corpse in a state of waterlogged ruin, but we don't.
No,
they just kind of look under there. I wanted to see a rotting dead old woman.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to see.
But I mean, she wasn't in there that long.
Yes,
wouldn't be that bloated.
But water speeds up decomposition by about 30 times, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Rob knows from experience.
I know from experience. So I feel like that's it's quite cool. I like that we then get the twist of who is this?
Yeah.
Who is killing all of these people?
Who are we following as these people die? As I said, like with a lot of them, normally the kills would be the part I'd focus on, but I don't know. I just felt like a lot of them just kind of ran quite similar to each other.
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt like there wasn't, maybe because they're all dying by cane, mainly.
I think that's it.
Makes them all feel quite similar, but the death part is definitely the part that I didn't like. Like there's elements of story here which luckily I found some good in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the general kind of the kills and stuff were okay. There is a couple of like standout ones and stuff like that. I like the one where she gets chased to the toilets.
Yes, that was
she's
cool.
chased for quite a long time.
That was kind of the bloodiest one, I'd say.
And that one's got a knife as part of it as well. So again, it's got a different kill, but yeah, that's one of the bloodiest ones when she basically, again, you don't fully see it, but you see blood splattering behind her kind of thing, but you see the knife being pushed down just below the screen though, but as her head is pushed in and then her head falls into you get a shot of her head in the toilet as well, which is cool.
That's a cool shot.
So that's one of the ones that like stands out because it was a slightly different death, but a lot of the other girls' deaths feel like they come quite quickly, like you said about the shadow or on the balcony, or just generally just being like suddenly hit, or just like hit a couple of times. Like obviously we get like a bit on, but when Vicky finally gets caught like outside, she gets multiple like into the attacked and into the chest and stuff like that, and we get multiple hits like that. But it's not anything that feels worthy of, like, for instance with Vicky, like whenever you got the one that's the main component, you always feel like there should be something an extra cool, an extra specific death for that person.
But
then it's like especially I guess where we find out with the twist like who it was, things like that. It feels like that person would want to give them a specific death or a certain kind of death, whether that's a drowning death to match Mr. Slater or something like that. I always feel like some of these deaths should always have a little bit more specific, like if you're the killer, like if that's the person that out of everyone you're probably most pissed at, you're going to do something extra dirty to that person.
But that's where I think that this film does lead into more of the trying to figure out who it is, and leads into a bit more of the whodunit. So like when Katie Rose goes up into Miss Slater's room in the attic and finds like the weird children's toys and the clown popping box and the dead bird, and then they try and take the body to the cemetery. We get like a bit more of this kind of like, well, there's a few more moving pieces in the story, as opposed to what films like Friday the 13th did, where it was a bit more, the story is very much like, oh, well, we need to survive, or we need to get out of here, what's going on. But it was effectively like escalating kills and Jason finding a weapon and then using that. So I feel like them trying to stick with basically one weapon does unfortunately limit the kills. And they can try and be creative, like with the silhouette, but you also have to manage expectations of, well, I'm going to watch a slasher film, I want to see gore. You know, it's tricky.
It's one of those tricky ones. It's also because this film is somewhat taking inspiration from other horrors around the time, I think, at the same way. And it's also leaning like, what way are we going with? And as we just said, the marketing of this film, I would say, very much sells it as a film that is different than what it actually is. I'd say it's trying to be a bit more tamer, a bit more kind of trying to play on the psychological. I'd say it's trying to be more of a Halloween, Black Christmas archetype of kind of style. But the way they marketed it sounds more like they were selling it to people that were expecting boobs and Friday the 13th style deaths.
You know, the poster sells it to me as Last House on the Left. It makes it sound very much as if she's got to go through something and then she's got to really fight back violently. That's the impression I get from it. And the front cover, you know, with like a lone woman and her looking very exposed. That's the vibe I get from it. So I imagine people went into this like, oh, this is going to be
It does,
so
I
bloody,
see what you mean. It does seem a little bit like that,
we done them.
Spit on my grave.
Kind of vibe.
Yeah, but it's selling a bit of that, so it sounds like they definitely got people in for not quite what they would be expecting. Because it's not quite as fast paced and all that. Even though the deaths do come the girls are taken through pretty quick, actually.
It's like an hour and 34 minutes.
Because I do remember getting to the point where I was like, right, okay, now Vicky's gone as well, so I guess we're wrapping up in a minute, kind of thing. And then we get
very weird
another twist part of it, kind of thing.
Because we
kind of get to that part with the doctor.
Well, the first part is very much setting up Miss Slater's weird trauma, the prank, and then the party. And then it does go very quickly. They try to move the body. And I think once they get to the cemetery, I think Vicky and her friend get killed very quickly. There's a great shot that really does heavily kind of lead into the Miss Slater, where I think it's Vicky and she's like leaning against the car and the killer's kind of like standing over her. And we see it from Vicky's point of view. And they're standing kind of in front of a light, so you see like this kind of long hair, and it looks like they're dressed like Miss Slater.
Yeah,
and I really
does
like
look
that.
like someone dressed like Miss Slater, but I like
it's getting a bit of a psycho vibe from it, you know.
That.
And I think it's really cool. And then Vicky does have a bit more gruesome death, where you see her getting stabbed a little bit more, and you see the cane go in.
You do see a bit more with hers at least.
But then we get, Dr. Beck.
Dr. Beck.
Who, at first, you're like, oh, this is the film's Loomis.
Yeah.
He's here to save the day. He's got receding hairline, big, old, chunky glasses. He's here to
Well, I thought because of those early scenes, I thought pretty early on, and especially when I saw him again, I got the vibe more that he was fucking with or lying to Mrs. Slater, because I got a vibe at the very beginning that there was something off about the whole baby thing anyway. Yeah. So, but not necessarily the baby thing, but that he had been manipulating Mrs. Slater for a long time. That's what he was saying about her being, kind of unstable and stuff like that.
Well,
I got an idea. I thought of pretty early. I was like, I feel like the good doctor is actually the murderer here, and he's been projecting that onto the idea of Mrs. Slater. He's almost projecting her to make her seem psychotic because he is psychotic. Kind of. It's not quite the way it plays out.
No, there's the scene where he's looking at the X-rays, and it looks like whoever's brain this is has the disease from The Last of Us, where like half of their brain is like tendrils coming off of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, they think it's supposed to cause
the infected brain right there.
Yeah, it's like Dawn of the Dead stuff.
Yeah. He's just looking at it, it's like, this is Mrs. Slater.
This is Mrs.
She
Slater.
should be dead.
Yeah, she should be dead.
She was already dead.
Yeah, she should be dead. It's like a fungus.
She just walks in, it's like, don't worry about it, girls. She had a major brain tumour. She was dead any minute now.
She would have died any minute.
We'll just pretend that she had a brain tumour and died in the pool.
Yeah.
And then someone shot her.
And she threw the chicken bones in there. Once he comes in, it's like, it starts to get very odd.
It does. It's that odd bit of like where you've got kind of where we've got to explain a bit.
Yeah.
But you've got him coming in like as if he's trying to help her, but then he very, and she's thinking, oh, like I've got nowhere else to turn. You know what you're going on about here. Mrs. Slater's gone for whoever it is. Who is it? And then he drugs her inside the car.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, where the fuck's this going?
Yeah.
And then, so he's like to try and calm her down while he's kind of doing a very kind of quick explanation like of this part of like what actually went down there, that she had a son and that son was
he's like she was struggling to conceive, and I came up with some, I don't know,
illegal test tube baby, some like mutant baby. I used my jizz, and I microwaved her and made it super strong, and then banged it in her. I microwaved my bollocks to make them super virile. And like effectively, I had to tell her that the baby was dead because it was a deformed creature.
It was a deformed creature. Deformed and mentally impaired due to an illegal fertility treatment. And then he's like,
but then we kept him in the attic anyway.
But I think he releases her.
Yeah,
he releases the baby, Eric.
That's who we were actually kind of talking about early on, is that this person is not being released but unstable, so it wasn't Mrs. Slater, which really you should work out pretty fast because they said Miss Slater's been with them for years. She's not just being released from a psychiatric ward.
No.
But the beginning, an early scene at the beginning before you see Miss Slater in the sorority house implies that she's just being released.
Yeah, or she's being evaluated.
So someone else was being released, and that is the son.
Well, he comes out for his birthday,
yeah,
which is when she shuts down the sorority house.
Happy birthday, get in the attic.
Happy birthday, get in the attic, and then no one see you.
Yeah,
and you love clowns.
Yeah,
you fucking love clowns. Just you're a 20-year-old man.
Yeah,
and you're a 20-year-old man. You're mentally deformed. Here's a clown.
And I'm bringing you into a sorority house.
Yeah, and I'm bringing you into a sorority house. You're in the prime of your life. You're probably extremely horny. You've nothing but wanking in that mental hospital. here's 7 young women.
Go do it.
Go and do what you do.
Well, I guess it's only really set off, obviously, when he sees his mummy get shot into a pool.
Yeah.
Which in my head now is more like her getting shotgunned into a pool, like just blasted straight in there. Going,
Yeah.
And that's why we see the kind of the open window and that kind of who's outside the window, who's looking at us kind of thing.
Yeah. And then it gets into a really weird bit because Katie Rose is now having these hallucinations as Dr. Beck's like, I'm going to make you be the bait to draw Eric out. And she sees Miss Slater and the dead sorority sisters, which is quite cool.
That is, to be fair, around that point is when I was like, I missed something because I was like, oh, it's to get Eric to come out. I was like, what? I thought you were the fucking killer.
Yeah.
So I was like, I obviously was not paying attention. No. So let's go back. And rewind and let's watch that again because that explanation bit was much faster than I expected it to come out.
Oh, it was very quick.
Yeah, it was a quick. Like, I expected a long, drawn out story, probably in black and white. But no, it was just like quickly in the car, like, oh yeah, she I fucked her with fucked up sperm and off she
microwave
goes. You'll get the rest.
Yeah, you'll get the rest.
He's protecting her from Eric's American. Yeah, I liked this sequence, this weird psycho sequence.
It was really
where
weird.
You've got like I think what's meant to be. Is it meant to be her mum and dad or I don't know if it's meant to be Miss Slater and a man or whatever it's meant to be, or mum and dad. There's 2 people to start with who are dancing, and then we got the cane, and the cane starts spinning, and then Miss Slater and all the girls bodies dead and all that, which is it's a really cool scene. Yeah, when she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then her blind date walks in and gets offed quickly.
He gets tranquilized.
Yeah, just.
I don't know if he dies.
Yeah, I don't know. It does say in the Wikipedia thing that he kills him.
I think he just.
I thought he was tranking people.
Yeah, he tranks him. I don't know whether he snaps his neck after. He's like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, I don't like.
I'm just gonna kill him. Fuck him. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Break his neck. He's dead anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck him. And then we get like she
manages to get out,
escape and go away.
Run through. He's chasing her through the house, and then that's when Eric is back in the house, kind of thing. And as they're going through the halls, out pops Eric and
slices him.
Yeah, slices him in the gut, and then takes him over the banister, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, decent death.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But again, I was kind of mid and feeling like, wait, are you not the killer? Who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy? And this is what I mean. When I first watched it, I was really high.
Yeah,
I just watched all of it, not really knowing what's going on, and then there was a clown at the end, and I was like, what? I was like, you know that classic story where it's like, oh, the babysitter is looking after the kid, and she's like, oh, can this creepy clown statue, we don't have the clown. I was like, has this guy been in the background of the whole thing that I haven't noticed him until the very end?
Well, the thing was coming into this is, and again, even if you Google it, the clown costume thing pops up like as if that's the costume the whole film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was really just waiting the whole thing we keep seeing this little jack-in-the-box that looks like the clown, but where the fuck's the actual clown?
Yeah.
Where is the clown in this film? I thought that was the killer costume the whole time, and it's literally not until the last couple of minutes, how you're a clown.
And it's probably because they have the really cool shot where she's up in the attic and she's trying to focus on waiting for Eric with the gun. And she's having the flashbacks to the dead bodies, the head in the toilet, and then her sorority sisters being alive and calling them names. It's really cool. And you get the scene where she's waiting, and then the clown next to her, which we think is a statue because there is a clown statue, moves and goes for her, and it's super cool.
Yeah, it is a good shot.
But it makes me think that they were like, let's do that. Oh, we haven't had this guy dressed as a clown for the whole thing. And they're like, don't worry about it.
They're just there this is like them on the last day of filming going, fuck, that would have been bad.
That would have been badass.
That would have been badass. Why the fuck didn't we do that for the whole film?
Why did we do it for the last
film? Did we reshoot? No, you've got no fucking money left.
Yeah, because it does feel like, especially the end,
well,
she shoots him, but it's blanks.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, this doll has a knife in it, because that's safe for a mentally deformed person to have. stab
At this
him.
point, I'm just thinking Mummy wanted him to die. She put him in an attic
100%.
with a window that opens very high up. There's like a knife in there and weird clown objects, even though we don't know he actually definitely likes clowns.
No.
I feel like she was trying to get him to either fall out that window or kill himself.
Yeah,
She was like, this will be a lot easier if you just die.
Yeah, a hell of a lot easier. You know?
So just fall out the window.
Just fall out that window.
And fall down the attic chute. I don't care. Just
Well,
die.
he's stabbed a few
I'm not
times.
coming back up here.
Yeah, I'm not coming back up. I'm going to burn this house down. So she falls down. Eric kind of falls down the stairs after being shot, and he's lying there. And she decides, like, oh, the nightmare's over. I'm going to lie down. And then Eric moves, and the film ends. it's very European. I got to hand it to them.
This
just,
part,
just
yeah.
end. You
I
know?
mean, apparently this is based on a French thriller, apparently. So,
the film.
Not the whole film, but the concept was based on a less diabolics, whatever the hell that sounds like, bollocks. Diabolical Women, yes, is a 1955 psychological thriller. Yes, and blends elements of psychological thriller, crime drama, and psychological horror. It's with a plot focusing on a woman and her husband's mistress who conspire to murder a man. I don't know how that links to this film at all.
I don't think
this just says this is what apparently it's somewhat based on this.
That strikes me as kind of very loose and vague.
Yes,
just being like, well, it's based on a man and his.
Apparently, this
mistress.
was Alfred Hitchcock's all-time favorite horror film.
Le Diaboliques.
Oh, sorry, no. Robert Bloch, the author of Psycho,
Okay.
was the one who's all-time favourite. So, yes. Influence on horror, particularly due to the twist ending. Yes. It's, well, anyway, it's apparently based on that because, again, what we said before, that this has elements of psycho-ish kind of.
A little, yeah, kind of a little.
I think is where they're saying that, but yeah, I don't know. That might be some Wikipedia bullshit right there.
Maybe.
But apparently it has that, so that could be a little bit where you're getting some Euro vibes from them.
Because it does feel like it at the end. Where you
I mean, the third act is very a bit all over. Like, it's a bit like they're trying to, I don't know. I got a little bit of you're trying to be more twisty, turny, and clever than I necessarily think these plot twists actually are.
Oh, 100%.
Like, it was pretty predictable early on that one, it wasn't Mrs. Slater, and that the son was going to play a part in this, like that. You know, that it's going to be one of those things. As much as that is a thing, it's hard not to sometimes, this ending just leaves us with the idea that, all right, you're taking a rest, he's back alive again. It's like if Halloween ended when Michael would sits up on the stairs with Laurie there.
Yeah.
It was like the end. How, he would just be like, the fuck?
Yeah.
It is that. It's that exact scene. Like, it literally is like taking the scene with Laurie again, like classic shot of her being resting against the sideboard, and then Michael gets back up out of the ground, and then be like, end.
And you're just like, okay.
They were like, he got shot in the heart 6 times, or like landing on the thing and he's gone kind of thing. No, just, I know that implies he's alive, but there's a difference between like, he's disappeared, as in Laurie's safe, but he's disappeared. And
that's an iconic end, because there is some kind of resolution there. Yeah. And then there's also, it leaves you with feelings of kind of paranoia and dread.
This feels like it's taking an ending like that, but misinterpreting why that works. Because him opening his eyes and her being right there in the same room just implies that, well, she's dead because she hasn't realised he's alive.
Yeah.
Like, he's alive and you're just like resting there. He's going to probably just get up and just kill you straight away.
Yeah.
So it's not a good ending for her, for Katie.
Well, I don't know.
But it leaves it open. Again, I know it leaves it open kind of thing, but I don't know.
But it comes off... It
feels like a
mid-scene.
It feels more like they just cut it mid-scene and went, mysterious.
Yeah, let them decide.
Yeah, there's a cut out there of this where we get to see how she actually killed him.
She just bashed
She just pushed him out that window.
Stomps his head in. Yeah.
Gave him some little treats and threw out the window and he went after her.
He just went after her like a little dog. But yeah, I don't know. It does, because I think like the rest of the film is fun. And I think it's shot quite nice. I like how colourful it is. I like that it's a little twist and turny, even if it's predictable.
It's got an interesting story, I think, enough that it makes up for, again, like, I don't think the kills are the best here, But again, at the same time, I can also say that there are other good horror films that, because they've got a story, they sometimes don't go so hard on the kills because they're more trying to focus on the story kind of element.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with it being like that. It's like not even, say, again, we've mentioned Halloween several times, but not every kill in Halloween is overly graphic. But I'd say even still, Halloween still has deaths that are more like hard hitting.
Yeah,
these ones
100%.
These ones feel more like, here's McCain, gonna hit you. Here's a little tap for you.
They feel very quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the deaths in Halloween, not necessarily bloody at all.
But suspenseful, built up things,
and they are
Annie getting
slightly protracted,
car, like strangled, feels long, feels like that. People getting stabbed up onto the side, but like at least they feel like, even if they're mainly bloodless, you feel them more.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I feel like that's almost more of a thing. I've got no problem. It doesn't have to be full on gore. I was just more the first death gives you implication that there's going to be gore deaths, and then. Yeah, I mean, as I said, the head bowl in the toilet is a bit of a funny kind of like, yeah. But they just don't all live up to it. A lot of them do feel like just a girl just suddenly gets prodded with a cane and she like a little wacky, a little poke there and she kind of thing. That
little poke.
That's a downside of it, but I do like the general kind of bit of a weirdness to it, a bit of a twist kind of as it goes on. Yeah. Some of the characters have a bit more personality. I don't think Katie, the main one, I don't get a great deal from her. Bland. I think she's a bit bland, but Vicky and stuff like that has a classic bitchiness, but without being a full-on over-the-top bitch kind of thing. Yeah. Like you can, somewhat understand kind of thing her reasoning, and she's not planning to do something that bad. It just goes wrong happens, kind of thing. So it's got those elements to it. But yeah, I think it's a fun watch. It's fun. It's not like a top slasher for me or anything like that, but it's a bit of a fun. If I was going for like a similar ground, I'd go more Black Christmas than this, but but more bad deaths. But
yeah, definitely.
It's got a good kind of overall structure of a story, and it's got a bit of a fucked upness about it at times, of that weird like psycho kind of like those shots and the weird like nightmare sequences of seeing them stood there are kind of cool enough to kind of keep you going to the end, I think, even if I'm not a fan of the final scene.
The end just feels so
not
abrupt.
The final scene, sorry, the clown bit is cool, but
the abruptness
it feels that whole scene, even with the clown shot being really cool, just feels so like kind of like we've stepped into a different part of a different film now.
100%. Like
we've just changed our motif now. You could be undressing as Mrs. Slater here, but instead we're getting the clown.
Well, like I said, when I first watched it, completely forgot about the kid, and I was like, oh, so it's the doctor who's killing them because he witnessed the death of Miss Slater.
Yeah.
So I was like, why does he dress up as a clown? Where does that go into it? I had no idea. So, and I'm pleased that on rewatch I did see like the twist there, and I like that they've tried to tell like a story like that. They've gone a slightly different way. They've tried to keep people guessing. I just wish that they would have done a bit more creative kills or shown it a little bit more. I feel like 1982, you're right in the throes of the golden age of slasher. I wish they leaned into it a little bit more in terms of what they were going to show. How long they were lingering, I think, is my main thing. I don't mind some off-screen deaths, like the one with the silhouette. I think that's quite nicely done. It's just that they should be a bit quicker. I feel like if you want to use Halloween, which is, like you said, bloodless, but some of them are slightly more protracted, so there is an element of it feeling more real. I just wish that this did it a bit more. If you're gonna chase the trend of being a slasher a bit more, then at least make the kills a bit bloodier. Yeah. Instead of cutting away so quickly.
Or a bit more varied.
A bit more varied.
Don't be stuck that we have to keep using the idea that the cane makes us all believe that Mrs. Slater's the killer.
Yeah, that's very leaning into the red herring.
Very quickly, though, when we get the body of Mrs. Slater, this is now pretty quick to go. So it's not her. but we're still going to keep killing. Majority of the deaths is still going to be a Kane.
Kane,
no, we can maybe use again. Like when she goes down to the huge electric box down in that thing, I thought that was going to play into it. I thought she was going to get electrocuted or something like that to get the power out in the house. But again, no, it was just like it was basically the shadow of that erection appearing and going at her.
And just the fair, the slight dangle of the ball sack, with the motion.
Just there. To go onto those. Cause
the elasticity of it.
All of those parts. Yeah, some real fun tangents in this one.
Yes. And if you want plenty more tangents and plenty more of our Slasher Summer series, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Come and let us know your thoughts on the House of Sorority Row. And as always, play us out, fellas.